Uh, all right. That concludes the ceremonial setting of the recorder. For those of you who aren't here in person, it's a lovely ceremony. Now I have to find my cursor to make God go away. All right. So these recordings will wind up on YouTube. For those of you that aren't aware of that, for those of you that are watching it later, these are clearly aware. The meeting notes and the other chat activity, such of it that is logged, and you can read which is logged and which is won't on the who can see your messages clicky on the meeting chat window. But welcome you all. And before we get started, I want to say that I just got Bill the MeetUp. It's 90 something bucks for every 6 months. Seems exorbitant, but there are hundreds of you out there. 333, Dave said. Don't know what that is this morning. And going up, people are joining faster, losing them, to my dismay. Meetup was started by Wagner. What was his first name? Anyway, the guy was managing the leftover books and doing so much for us. And then he skipped town as well. So we're keeping this going because it seems to be doing something. So if any of you would care to donate to that and to the storage, cost of storage for the books that I need to be feeding into the paper recycling at the rate that I can manage, which isn't fast. I've got other things going on in my life right now. Please contact me and PayPal or send me a check. But it does cost real money for some of this stuff, and I'm pleased to have any of you donate to me. I'm not inclined to take money from anybody that has donated this year. And I think that let's put a cap at like $100. I don't think I will see more than $100 from anybody. But if you've got the money, I'm pleased to take it from you. And it's going to this good cause. So without further ado, thank you for your patience. Kevin Appert, I'm the program chairman. I'm responsible for herding cats, the technical term we use for dragging everybody into this exciting discussion every month. So I do encourage, if you're not signed up, subscribe on MeetUp. We like to pad our numbers. So the MeetUp, sign up for the meeting if you're here in person. YouTube doesn't count for MeetUp sign-up. So please don't sign up if you're not actually going to be. And go to MeetUp. It's nice to have big numbers there. It is a good way to get the announcements in front of you, and it will remind you what the day for the actual meeting. Without further ado, Jeff O'Connor will now regale us. Introduce yourself, Joe.
Hello, my name is Joe O'Connor. I'm going to be doing a short presentation today. So I'm ready to share my screen.
Are you not able to? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can do it. Can you see it?
We can see it.
Sounds good. Okay. Last month I gave a presentation on using Jupyter Notebook with my own version of Forth, which is written in Python. This is an effort on my part to try and use Jupyter Notebook with other Forths. I picked CoSy as an example. This is how far I've gotten, which isn't too far, but it's something. So what I have here, I'm trying to scroll down and it's happening very slow. Okay. For some reason it's happening very slowly. Okay, I'm using the same methodology that I used before. I use what are called magic commands. Again, it's very slow. All right. Okay, so here I'm just showing out to command exe, and then I'm showing the path. Very simple. I started off there. Okay. I'm trying to scroll down. The screen is not cooperating with me. Excuse me one moment. Okay. So, I don't seem to get anything just by executing the code for Riva exe. Okay. So next thing I'm doing,
Away from, you want to walk away from it and come back next month?
no, let me try it again. Okay, that works. As you can see, I put 1, 2, 3 on the stack, and then I add the top two numbers. So you can see that's 5. So this does a stack print. There's nothing there. All right. Okay, I'm going to go to using magic commands. So all right, so that works well. So I have 5 numbers. I put 5 numbers on the stack, and then I add the top 2. So that leaves 4 numbers on the stack. I get the stack depths. All right, this gives me the words, the word list. Unfortunately, I don't get the entire CoSy vocabulary, just the Riva or Retroforth core vocabulary at this point. Okay. Wow. All right, this is about as far as I've gotten. I can execute the beer script in the cell. So that's about as far as I've gotten. I'm going to end the presentation here. Okay, any questions? Sorry, I wasn't cooperating with me.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just apologizing for how, for some reason, it doesn't seem to be cooperating with me. I'm doing this presentation on my MacBook, and I'm using the screen on my notebook, which is in Windows. So that might be an explanation, but it seemed to work fine last month. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to ask, sort of how have you found the Riva environment in general so far? Like, has it been?
It's a big puzzle to me. I barely. First, there's the Riva core environment, and then Bob Armstrong has built this CoSy environment. He's added about 400 words, and then there's also a GUI interface, which I don't know. I have a real problem working with it. I'm also being dogged by Kaspersky, which is what I use, flagging it as antivirus software. So I guess there's a clean way of getting around that.
It's flagging as malicious software, not as antivirus software.
It's flagging it as a virus. So I'm not sure I have the solution to that yet. So maybe getting an updated version or whatever, recompiling it in some way.
It's pretty hard to build things for Windows these days that doesn't get flagged. It's practically like you have to have it signed with a certificate. And I mean, this is the same. I run into the same thing with Micro-A4. It's impossible to produce an executable you can hand to somebody else and run it. And even the ones you produce yourself.
Yeah, I think Leon's having the same trouble at Fourth Incorporated.
I mean, there might be other solutions. I looked into containerization. And I was told that's not a real solution, or maybe host it on a whole another system, a real system, not a virtual one. What's that?
You may want to try using Linux.
Well, actually, if you're containerization, if you're using something like Docker, put it into a Docker container
Right.
and run it out of there. Put in a Linux environment into a Docker container and run it from there. If you can't, and the Windows environment, the Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL2 in Windows it works to an extent, and you could probably get away with running. Yeah, I run Forth on it, no problem. Forth is easy. But you just make a container and put a Ubuntu on there, and then install GForth. You're up. It's very straightforward.
Okay, I'll look into it. Again, this is still all new to me. I'm not Bob was interested in alternative user interface. And also it wouldn't just apply to his own version of Forth. Potentially it could apply to any Forth, like Win32 Forth or whatever, to interface it with that.
I can remember in the 90s, there was a prediction that operating systems and software is getting so complex at some point we'll get to the point where nothing works. We're there.
Yeah.
No, we're on the cusp. We're on the cusp.
What's that business about horseshoes and hand grenades?
That's right. That's right. In some cases, it does not matter, and already, yeah. But when some of us started out, when some of us gray hairs started out, it was just as hard, if not harder. We figured it out.
I remember saying the same thing about Windows 3.1. It's just very difficult to actually write anything and get it to work under.
Right. This has been going on most of our lives.
You guys remember DOS 4.0?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, I do.
So 3.3 worked pretty good. And then 4.0 came along and they couldn't get it working, and they came out with DOS 5.
Yep.
The programmers at Microsoft are just suck. I don't know where they get these guys.
Well, it's a corporation environment, so therefore they go through, they churn through programmers huge rate. Always is. And yeah.
I'm reminded of this Greek philosopher who was complaining about how inanimate and unkempt the youth are. Teenagers are just running amok.
Right. And it is always that way. Every generation, the teenagers are just running amok.
Well, that's why I'm designing with Dimitri a new board and operating system. It's taken a while, but we're getting there.
Yep. You'll go somewhere. It will be curious how far you get.
It will be. It's a labor of love, so we'll see what happens.
They have to be labors of love because they last way too long.
Oh, if I could quote you on it. Can I quote you on that?
Absolutely. I've been at Forth and loving it and hating it for too long and doing far too little of it these days. So
we might give you a new reason.
Any more comments for I'll take that as a no. If there's some okay, so Brad's ready to start Bill Ragsdale's video.